TVC has a finger on the pulse. And if it's trending, then we are definitely going to be talking about it on here. In our first story, Pastor Shingo Wigwe, the 90-year-old father of the late billionaire and former Access Holdings CEO Herbert Wigwe, has reportedly sued his 26-year-old granddaughter, Otutochi Wigwe, over the administration of her father's estate. Now, this follows earlier speculation in October 2024 that the family planned to alter Wigwe's will to disinherit his children, and these are claims that they vehemently denied. However, a newly surfaced court summons suggests tensions have escalated, bringing the inheritance battle into legal proceedings. I don't know, it's a bit unsightly to watch such an elder member of the family clash so publicly with younger members of the family. And we're seeing a growing trend in high-profile inheritance disputes. I mean, media mogul Rupert Murdoch just a few months ago went viral because while he was alive, he tried to change his will because he questioned the integrity of his children. But I'm going to take some social media commentary right now. Eli says, I will always be a strong advocate for enforcing a will while alive and updating it every 2 years. This situation in the Herbert Wigwe family is totally uncalled for and sad to his legacy. Luckily for him, that legacy will never be tainted. Olayomi says, a lot is happening behind the scenes that we may not understand. Until you hear from both the grandfather and the deceased children, you won't fully understand. Don't just express your emotions everywhere. And Maki Bell had this to say. She says, Ikwere men and properties. Herbert Wigwe was a very forward-thinking man with very Western and progressive thoughts, and I'm very curious to know if cultural precedents or cultural laws will take precedence over what is going on in his family, or will they be forward-thinking. Moving on now, in our next story, the controversial Nigerian singer Habib Okikiola, popularly known as Portable, has turned himself in at the Lagos State Criminal Investigation Department in Yaba. Now, Portable was declared wanted by the Ogun State Police on February 18, 2025, after he and 9 associates allegedly assaulted and obstructed officers of the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development. Now, following days of evasion, during which he pleaded online and sought public sympathy, his fans urged him to surrender before the situation worsened. It looks like Portable is finally obeying the law. For the first time ever, I'm going to give kudos to Portable. Turn yourself in, rule of law. But I'd love to take some social media commentary. Olufemi says, Portable needs our help and prayers. Those who can assist should do so with the fear of God. He has completely folded. Sunday says, this is typical of Portable. He sure knows how to keep things dramatic. It's about time he faced the consequences. Avoiding the law never ends well. And finally, Lumi has this to say. He says, Portable is mentally not okay. He's undergoing rehabilitation. Please handle him with care. Veronica and Ibrahim, I'd absolutely love to zero in on the Herbert Wigwe estate drama that seems to be about to be unfolding in the courts. What do you guys think about this? I'd love to know.
Court, a family probate court in Ikeja, dismissed the application filed by Christian Wigwe and Pastor Shingo Wigwe, and they said the court resolved all issues raised by the applicants and deemed their claims unsustainable. So as it is right now, the children are still in charge of the estate and properties. They wanted an administrative body to take charge of all of the properties of the late Wigwe. So I guess they are thinking perhaps the children are too young to handle it. But I think it was a matter that could have been resolved amicably within the family as against taking the case to court. But as it is, we do not know if they'll pursue this matter further. So let's see what happens. It's unfortunate that a family issue has escalated to this level, and I believe that the late Wigwe actually inculcated in his children the ability to manage his businesses before he passed, unfortunately. Now, talking about Portable, I still always remember his sister saying that he has some spiritual issues, he's under a spell and all of that. But when I saw the video where he was talking calmly and how he was asking for help and all of that, I was wondering, Portable? you can be this calm. But it is good he turned himself in. He must have listened to some voice of reasoning somewhere, perhaps people he respects, to see that he turned himself in. Beyond turning himself in, I hope he turns a new leaf.
Right, a brief comment on the Wigwe family. The family, I can't imagine seeing a 90-year-old man suing a 90-year-old grandfather suing a 26-year-old because of inheritance of his own son and our own father. I can also imagine how the father would have carried this 26-year-old when she was a baby, carried her on his lap, on the laps, and all of that. So the Wigwe family has built an empire, an enviable empire that should not be thrown out of the windows because of inheritance and all of that. So they can do better by resolving these in-house rather than taking it to the public. Hopefully, they find a headway. The social media is doing well for Portable. His fans actually urged him to surrender to the police, and he has done that. So we are now beginning to ask whether social media is also playing a very sacrosanct role in helping the celebrity to do, to take probably decisive action. So if they are told him not to surrender himself, would he have surrendered himself? So the police are taking him. There's a maxim in law, ora audi patem, here from the other side. So let's see how this pans out.
Thank you, Ibrahim. I'll be turning myself into my other stories now.
What did you do? Oh, okay, first stars.
In our next story, the Nigerian Senate has summoned National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, NIA Director General Mohammed, and DSS Director General Adeola Ajayi over allegations that USAID funds terrorist groups, including the Boko Haram. Now, the security chiefs are expected to brief the Senate behind closed doors on the credibility of these claims, which are also under investigation by the U.S. government. And of course, we've seen this story all day, but I want to take social media reactions. Nigerians are debating the implications of these heavy and possibly damning allegations. Wisdom says, it is interesting to see the Senate doing something about this issue. Whether anything will come out of it or not is another thing. Ikenga says, this is a storyline to divert attention. Nothing will come out of the invitation as usual. And finally, Ken Uti says, the US Congress did it in the open. Why is the Nigerian Assembly the victim, doing it in a closed session? I think ultimately the question we need to be asking, and what we all just want to know as a collective, is Nigeria's security compromised by external funding? Now, the findings and the information that comes from these investigations will be very crucial in informing foreign aid with Nigeria subsequently. In our final story, in a historic move, some good news for you guys, the Netherlands has agreed to return 119 stolen Benin bronzes to Nigeria, more than a century after they were looted during the 1897 British punitive expedition. Now, the official transfer agreement was signed on Wednesday at the World Museum in Leiden, with the Netherlands Embassy in Abuja confirming that the artifacts are expected to arrive in Nigeria later this year. For over 50 years, Nigeria has pushed for the return of these priceless cultural treasures, and this latest restitution marks another victory in the global movement for repatriation. Now, do you have a story you think we should cover on Trending Now on TVC, or do you just want to join in and chime in on the conversation? Tag us with the tag hashtag Trending Now on TVC on any social media platform. I promise you we are listening. I'm going to take some tweets now about the Benin bronzes being returned. They said they should also give back the revenue that they made with it. And Onungene says, it is worthless to them now, trust me. And finally, Kashmir says, even at present, Benin State still has some artifacts that Nigerians barely value. And these people added value into these artifacts and also made it worth millions. No, the craftsmanship made it worth millions. Why collaborate with them and get proceeds on a monthly basis that can be used for development instead of bringing here? I think what we have to ask is now that these artifacts are being returned to Nigeria, do we have the ability to properly display and manage them? And I hate to say it, but there have been instances of artifacts being returned to the country and they've been mismanaged, and in some severe cases, resold as well. Veronica and Ibrahim, would you chime in here? I know growing up, we heard Ife artifacts, Benin artifacts, they were ingrained in our memory. So this is kind of a big deal.
I'd like to talk about the USAID. I think it's really a broader issue that we need to do proper investigation. If there is merit in these allegations, the U.S. ambassador ought to be, invited for questioning, and then we'll have to review our bilateral relations with the U.S. because a country cannot contribute to this insecurity of another country and expect that they go scot-free. So we also would like to report this to the ICJ or the ICC and take this beyond the mere face value. So that's just the way I see it. And the West has really done so much against the African continent. Imagine our artifacts since 1897. Come on, this is really sad. So when it comes back, when we receive, because we received some in Germany, 22 of them, we also got from France and some other countries. So we hope that we manage this very, very well when they return it back to the country.
Well, we've been seeing how these artifacts have been managed in Benin City in particular. Know how they place so much value on some of these artifacts, and they have a museum where some of these artifacts were kept, and it even stirred up a controversy between the governor and the monarch, the Oba of Benin, at some point. I think that was 2 years ago, and that issue really caused some tension. So I believe that this matter of the returning of the artifacts, especially to Benin, is something that they will handle appropriately because they have been doing that. Now to the other issue of the USAID. The Senate has said they have called the National Security Advisor and every other person involved in our security. I am not confident if we'll get to the end of this matter because of the complexity of this case. We've had several issues that we have said we are inviting people to talk about, investigate, and at the end of the day, there is no logical conclusion and to bring people to account with regards to what was done. So I'm just waiting to see what happens at the end of the day. All right. Thank you, Olamide, for bringing us those stories.
You're welcome.
Well,